Number 3, use a chauffeur to take you from your home to the airport. Yes, it's expensive, but it does save a lot of stress of trying to find your parking space. Or if you can't quite stretch to a chauffeur, use the meet and greet parking service. If you're not sure what that is, you just arrive at the departures terminal, you hand some stranger your key, they go off and park it, and then when you come back, you give them a call, and when you get out the arrivals terminal, hopefully the car will be there waiting for you, all nicely warmed and ready for you to go home. And of course, alongside that, use an airport lounge as well, because not everybody wants to stump up the 15 to 20 odd pounds it is, and it really is worthwhile. I did it in Jamaica. Air conditioning, which was great. Free snacks, which wasn't too good for me being a vegan. Yes, I have mentioned I'm a vegan again. But there's free drinks, coffee, soft drinks. Seats are comfortable, there's TV, and I've already mentioned the air conditioning, but sometimes you just need the aircon on full, and an airport lounge is the place to get it. So use an airport lounge as well. Number 4, there are a few days in the year where you should not travel. The first few days of any school holiday are chaotic. I tried it once, the first day of a summer holiday, about 2 years after I started business. I just wanted to see what it was like. And now I've done it, I'm never going to do it again. And I recommend that you don't do it either. Just take my word for it. Do not go on the first couple of days of a school summer holiday. So try and fly outside school holidays if you can. But if you have to fly on a school holiday, go for the middle of the holiday. Don't go for either end. Don't forget to check the school holiday dates for other countries as well. This is tip number 5. There's no point in avoiding UK school children if you're going to end up surrounded by kids from another country. Not just kids, young adults I suppose they'd like to be called at USA spring break. Could be thousands of excited and mainly drunk American teenagers, early 20s, in resorts all over Mexico and other Caribbean destinations. And if you haven't got the right hotel, you will find that sleep is not guaranteed. It's not even optional extra. It's just not going to happen. Tip number 6, keep away from the main resorts and head out to small villages. Here the pace of life will be slower and there's less chance of staying near an all-night disco. The tip I said on the first day of the school summer holidays, I actually went to a small island, a small village even, on Mallorca. We're the only British people there, a few Germans. It was so slow. It was just great. It really was just relaxed. I struggled a bit because I don't speak Spanish. You really needed to be able to speak Spanish there. And if you have a vegan diet, yes, I got vegan in again. There wasn't much to eat, but no kids, no night parties, no people running drunk in the street at night time. Just a time to get away from it all and just slow down. Number 7, if you are worried about foreign food, then contact nearby restaurants a few weeks before you go. Now, I didn't know this when I went to this small island, but there we go, I was always learning. Explain that you have a special diet and ask if they cater for it. And I have found in the years since I've known about this that most restaurants will cater for you. They won't say no, provided they're giving plenty of notice. Now, there are some instances where this isn't going to work, such as a Caribbean island and you want, say, kosher food. There just isn't going to be any. But if you've got a nut allergy or you're a fussy eater like me, give the place plenty of notice. Explain what you want. Don't just say, oh, just do anything, that'll be fine. Give them some ideas, because remember, they're not used to your diet, you are. So just make life as easy as possible for them by having a few simple dishes that they can quite easily knock up without any extra hassle towards themselves. My wife always says it doesn't matter, just cook whatever you want, but no, don't do that. It's the worst thing you can say. Even if you can't get away for a week or so, a short weekend break can work wonders, as long as you leave the laptop and phone behind. So just head off for another location in the UK if you really can't get away. Number 9, if you have to take your work phone with you, use an answering service to screen your calls. It'd be a small investment for you if you're working for somebody. It'll be a great investment for you if you're self-employed. But it just means that somebody's going to be ringing a UK number. Well, ringing your number, it's going to be diverted to somebody in the UK who's going to answer the phone, find out if it's a pushy salesperson or whether it's really important. If it's important, they'll send you an email or a text, and then you can ring them back. So you don't get any calls like I did when I was self-employed at 4 o'clock in the morning, because the time difference and Customer just assumed I'd be up and open because he thought I would be in the UK, and I wasn't. I should have got a call handling service. They would have answered the phone. They would have sent me a text, and when I woke up, I could have responded. And number 10, this is the most important tip for relieving stress when you go on holiday, and that is to go on holiday in the first place. Don't not go. Some people feel guilty about going away because they feel that they're not committed enough to their work. Don't be silly. You're much better for your company when you come back relaxed than if you keep going and going and going. So the final tip is to make sure that you always go away. Checking it out before you check in on the John Guinn Travel Show on ukhealthradio.com. Well, Easter holidays are over. That now means for some kids, 16 and 18s, maybe 17s too. School's changed a lot since I left 100 years ago. But it's exam time, and after exams it's holidays, and for a lot of children, young adults, teenagers, the youth, this could be the first time they go away on holiday without their parents. Now, I do this lecture every year, and I once did it at the local upper school, which was a very nerve-wracking experience. Standing there in the auditorium, I got lower six and upper six staring at me because I was the last-minute speaker. They were going to find out about breast cancer and testicular cancer, or boobs and balls, as the warm-up woman said, the head of year. So I was on a hiding to nothing, and I had to keep them interested about staying safe when they're on holiday. And of course, a lot of them just wanted to go away and get drunk and whatever. And I had kids giggling at me, young ladies giggling at me. If I hadn't had any training, I would have been forever checking my flies doing this talk. But I knew they were fine because I checked them before I went on the stage. See, professional me until the last minute. But anyway, back to my lecture. Kids going away on holiday for the first time. There's always accidents. There's always people who have problems. And it's because they just don't know what to look out for and how to behave. So here's my lecture, my long-winded nag on what you should look out for when you go on holiday for the first time without your parents. And the first bit I'll cover, obviously, is passports and travel documents. And the passport is the most important travel document. If it's out of date, you won't be able to leave the country. And if you lose it before coming home, it can get complicated to get back. It's not impossible. You can get a temporary passport, but it costs money and it takes a while. So you should check out how long you have left on your passport, at least 2 months before you're due to fly off to the sun. If you leave it any later, especially for summer holidays, you run the risk of not getting a replacement in time. Or you'll have to pay for the premium service, express service, which is expensive, but to be perfectly honest, I did it once. Not because I wasn't planning, because I had a last minute freebie, so I wasn't expecting it, honest. And you just go down to London for the day and bung them £100 and you get a passport, but you're best off not doing that. If your passport is due to expire a day or two after you're due to return home, it may not be long enough for you to get into the country you're visiting. Some countries have a rule that passports must have at least 6 months left of the passport after the date of coming home, or they won't let you in. So you need to check on that. You may need a visa to get into some countries, so check before you book, as these can be expensive and time consuming. And if you refuse a visa, you won't get your holiday money back. Do not be tempted to travel anyway. Even if you do manage to get on the plane without a visa, you'll be sent straight back home when you arrive, probably after a night in the cells. For countries that issue a visa on arrival, you may need blank pages, generally 2, in your passport, so you need to check for that too. And you should also renew your passport if you're running out of blank pages, and especially if your passport is falling to bits. Some people travelling away for the first time without their parents could still be on a child passport, and this expires, which a teenager can use until it expires. So in theory, you could be using a child's passport even though you're 19 or 20. The advantage of having a child passport is when it's time to renew, you can apply for a 10-year adult renewal passport, which is a lot easier than getting an adult passport if you haven't anything in previously. If you haven't had a passport before, then you should allow at least 6 weeks because you may need to attend a passport interview. That's what I was trying to say before I stumbled a minute ago. I will be putting a link for all the websites you need to know on this at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show, because it's much better than me trying to read out a URL such as this one, www.direct.gov.uk/en/travel and transport/passport/index.htm. See, very difficult. It'll be on the Facebook page. If you need to replace your passport when you're away, then you will need to contact the nearest British consulate. You can find the embassy or consulate details for your travel destination on the Foreign and Commonwealth website, www.gov.uk/FCO. That's an easy one. Let me get away with that one. If your passport gets lost or stolen, then one of the first questions you'll be asked by the local police, and you need a police report when you lose a passport, and from the embassy when you want a renewal, is what's your passport number? So you should scan your passport and other important travel documents such as your flight times and e-ticket number and email the picture to a web-based email account such as Hotmail or preferably a secure internet vault. Speak to a 4-year-old who's an IT expert on that and they can keep your information safe. Then you can access the details from anywhere in the world, and you should also give a copy to somebody back home so they have a record of your itinerary as well in case you need to call back home and say, "Mum, lost my passport, Mum." You won't be able to use these scanned images as a passport. I have been asked this in the past, and I know the answer is no. But it will help speed up the process for a temporary replacement because you've got all the information that they need to know. Also, remember to write the full details of your next of kin on your passport. Always have a second means of photo identification with you. And keep your passport in the hotel safe and carry a photocopy of it with you when you're going out and about for drink identification. If the bar doesn't take that, so what, go on to the next one. But if you have to take your own passport and you get a bit squiffy, you could end up losing it. You've got to keep that somewhere safe. And in a moment, we'll be talking about travel insurance. You're listening to The Travel Show with John Guinn on ukhealthradio.com. If you've just joined the travel show this week, you're in time. You're from the rest of the annual Grandad Gwynn's holiday lecture about how to stay safe on holiday when you travel for the first time without your parents. This is aimed at all the kids who are doing their exams and then when they finish their exams, they're going to go off somewhere hot without their parents for probably the first time, or maybe for parents who are listening to pass on tips to their kids. But anyway, it's my annual lecture. I'll wobble on about this every year because personally I think it's very important. There's lots of accidents that could have been easily prevented when teenagers go away for the first time, and hopefully this will help at least prevent 1 or 2 accidents. I just talked about travel documents and passports, and now moving on to travel insurance. Insurance is important because things can go wrong on holiday. I've already mentioned in the previous bit about losing your passport or travel documents. Other problems include stolen luggage, you might get ill or need to fly home in a hurry. Accident happens not just on roads and ski resorts, but wherever you find travellers. All these risks and more can be covered by taking out travel insurance. Don't leave home without it. However, don't assume that you're covered for everything that might happen. Travel companies don't really want to help, to be perfectly honest. They want to keep your money. Why else would they be in business? So there are probably more reasons why they won't pay out than reasons why they will. Check the small print. You may not be covered if you have an accident on a jet ski, a banana boat, cycling, playing a sport, or if you're under the influence of drink or drugs. Or even if you're just larking about, I could have said something a lot worse there, with your mates. You may not be covered, so check the small print. Exclusions do vary from policy to policy, and if you're planning on a specialist trip, make sure that it's covered in the documents. Don't take anybody's word for it. You want to see it in black and white. It is worth paying more to get the right cover. Free insurance from banks and credit cards generally offer low levels of cover, in my experience. If in doubt, speak to a specialist, but not a travel agent or a supermarket. Speak to an insurance specialist. Getting you home after an accident could easily cost £50,000, £80,000, or even over £100,000. So it's not about getting the cheapest possible insurance. It's about getting the right insurance to make sure you're covered. It's never a waste of money because the risks are always there. And now health. In 2012, a woman died after being bitten while in South Asia, and she died of rabies. There is also another case in Leeds, so it's easy to come in contact with animals when you're away, because loads of hotels have cats roaming around, for example. And if the woman had a rabies jab before she went away, the death might have been prevented. Now, I'm not saying you should have a rabies jab before you go away, but you have to speak to your GP to get up-to-date information